An Anglican bishop in England once lamented, "Everywhere Jesus went, there was revolution. Everywhere I go, they serve tea." The Roman Empire reserved crucifixion for revolutionaries, a form of public torture and humiliation meant to discourage rebellion. What was so revolutionary about Jesus? He sent his disciples out to cure the sick, raise the dead, cleanse the lepers, cast out demons, according to today's gospel passage. He instructed them to spread the good news that the realm of God was at hand and call all people to metanoia, to an expansion of their hearts and minds. That sounds innocent enough, but Jesus warned them, "Beware, for they will hand you over to councils and flog you in their synagogues. You will be dragged before governors and kings, and you will be hated by all." Everywhere the first church went, there was dangerous conflict with the dominant culture. What is it about healing people and saying that the realm of God is at hand that will get us in trouble? And why isn't it happening now? Well, Jesus was talking not about being saved and going to heaven after we die. He was talking about establishing the realm of God on earth. And this is different from what most mainstream churches today preach. He was asking people to change inwardly, to grow to a new level of maturity that could see the oneness and sacredness of all life as God sees it, and then to change society around them to reflect God's love. The problem is, people don't like to change. People in the church don't like to change, which is why more churches aren't working for change. And especially kings and emperors, or mega corporations and the super wealthy, and those who are prospering under them, don't want to change. Herod and Caesar felt that the vision of God's realm of compassion and justice was revolutionary, because their society was built on a very different perspective and set of values. The realm of God on earth that values compassion and love comes in direct conflict with the realm of the ego that values selfish materialism and the accumulation of power and wealth. Humanity has been moving along these two tracks ever since. One track of humanity has continued to explore the full meaning of the vision of oneness and equality of God's realm. It has applied that vision increasingly widely, abolishing slavery and creating great democracies and liberating women and people of all sexual orientations and gender identities. It has progressed now to see all people, creatures, and the earth as one and sacred. In just the last few decades, people on the track of God's realm have codified a global ethic and an earth charter. And sociologists are noting increasing numbers who are growing into this perspective. The other track has progressed too, but not in the values or wisdom or ethics of God's realm, but in the values and prowess of the realm of the human ego and its materialistic desires. The technology of weapons and tools have advanced to undreamed of capacities in the service of exploitation, oppression, and the fulfillment of comfort and greed. This second track has no values that would prevent the poverty and suffering, the depletion and destruction of the earth that its materialism inflicts. Apparently, even enlightened self-interest cannot restrain it. as we're seeing now in in this climate crisis world. But these two tracks do not have to be in conflict. The ego is a disastrous master, but it's a useful servant. Appropriate technology can be a gift in the service of social, economic, and environmental justice. We need the revolution of values that Jesus sent his disciples out to promote and sends his church out to promote still, if we only will. And that revolution needs us. It needs us to be part of its movement, to change the heart and mind of society. Jesus knew that if we undergo metanoia, if we expand our heart and mind to this level of like Christ's heart and mind, that the realm of God on earth will appear. We will see it and we will build it with brilliant human minds that are guided by equally brilliant human hearts. So let us worship the source of those values of love and compassion, the source of God's realm, the ideal realm of life on earth. And let us open our hearts to receive whatever the Spirit would have us receive here today to help us along God's way. Mel Gert's haiku for this week asks us to envision God's realm in one of its most beautiful forms. Here's her haiku. Imagine a newborn fawn following the mother into the woods. Let us worship together, continuing on with this service.